Right, welcome back to another episode of Who Knew's Garage. Carrying on with the backy tin today. The graphite grey really hasn't worked. It has run, it's not good, it's not pretty. I have sanded it down. I'm going to do it again with the graphite grey and to have another go at it. So that's been sidelined for the moment. So we're just sticking with the base, the bottom of the tin that's got the black on it. I've got the clear coat ready to go, so I'll put that on in a minute. Bit of a tidy up. I always seem to be tidying up at the moment. And then I'm going to get the parts for the forks laid out ready to be put back together when the rest of the parts turn up, and any other jobs that I can find to do to keep myself occupied on this nice sunny day. So stick around, stay tuned, we'll see what I can get done. Right, so this has had about, I don't know, 24 hours, something like that, to dry in total. Since we put the last coat on, and it's not brilliant. There is a couple of bits of stuff that have got caught in it, but like I said, it's not done for looks, it's done as an experiment. So we'll get the lacquer out and we'll give that the once over. Right, so all this is just Hal Fraud's clear lacquer. It's had a 2-minute shaking. So let's get it applied to this. So the instructions then say to leave it for about 10 to 15 minutes and then apply a second coat. So 10 to 15 minutes and we'll be back. So while we wait for the lacquer to dry, another shot of the fork legs. I am quite impressed by that. There are a few blemishes in there, some bits that got stuck in the paint. I'm not overly concerned about it, it's not going to be mint, but I think for a garage paint job from a rattle can, for a first serious attempt at painting something, I am quite pleased with that. That's come out very well. So I think the next thing to do, while waiting for that dry, is just set the workbench out with all the parts on it ready for the rebuild. Right, so I've got the fork legs laid out with all the parts that I'm going to need to fix it. These are the plugs that sit in the end. Circlip holds that in. Rubber plug bung for the top to stop the water from getting in there and that rusting up in there and being a pain in the backside to get out in the future. Springs, fork seals, circlips, bushes, taper rod with the spring. And there's two things missing, and this is one of the reasons why I try and lay things out before I put it back together where I can, because what I'm missing obviously is one of those, well, two of those to go on the bottom of the taper rods, but also these, the dust seals. This is one of the old ones. I thought I'd bought a kit where the fork seals and the dust seals were in one, but apparently I didn't. So I need to order some fork seals, some dust seals to go on the forks. But apart from that, that's it. And then hopefully we can be back on again. And then we have a rolling chassis again. Sweet. Right, so we're back on with the tin. This is about 15 minutes. I'm thinking maybe I didn't put enough on that first coat because it seems fairly splattery. Not that this camera will pick it up. But it's had about 15 minutes. So we'll stick the next coat on. Right, time for the second coat of the lacquer. I don't think I put enough on the first one, so see if we lay this one a little bit thicker. Well, that seems to have a thicker coating on it, and apparently you've got to let that dry. Let's see, for about 2 weeks apparently. Turn the can upside down, spray it till it goes clear. Yeah, that thicker coat seems to have flattened it out a bit, but it's still damp. This is about another 15 minutes after it was sprayed, so I know it needs longer than that. But yeah, that's looking a lot better. I'm not, because it's still wet, it's difficult to say whether or not the shine that it's got is going to stay or if it's going to go, so we'll leave that to dry for a day or so, I think. Well, that's about it for another day in the garage. I've got to let the lacquer dry on the bottom half of that tobacco tin, and we'll see what that compares like. I've left all the paper and everything that's plugging up the fork legs in the fork legs just in case I do apply it. Personally, I'd like to apply it because I think it will give it that extra layer of protection, because they are going to take a bit of damage. However, if it doesn't look right, then I might not. It's £1 a can. You know, if it takes a bit of damage, you can always just spray another bit on that. I'm very impressed with that cheap paint. That's very nice to work with. Maybe it's just because I'm an amateur and it's easy paint, I don't know, but it's certainly much easier to use than the Halford stuff. I've got to go and order the dust seals for the fork legs, and so that hopefully they'll get here about the same time as the taper end rod things. Those bits that go at the very bottom, and then I can get the forks rebuilt, get them back on the bike, and finally get the bike back as a rolling chassis again, which is going to make moving things around this garage a whole lot easier, because it's stationary where it is and it's not movable, and it's starting to get in the way a bit now. It'll just be nice that I can move everything. And now with Toby's help yesterday, we've got the ignition barrel off the FJ. The FJ now becomes movable as well, so everything can go out, and I can have a proper clean up and a tidy up and sort out a lot of this stuff, because it is starting to get a bit of a yeah, like a jumble sale in here. So there we go. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next episode with hopefully something a little bit more interesting. Ride safe, and I'll see you again soon.